What's going on, guys? Here at 11, a great day today, and today we are continuing my review series of the original Mobile Suit Gundam trilogy. Today we're moving on to the second film in this series, which is titled Soldiers of Sorrow. But before I do get to my thoughts, I want to hear what you think of this film, so head on down to the comment section below and let me know. And while you're there, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe if you're a fan of anime and Japanese gaming. If you want to keep up with my review series of the Mobile Suit Gundam trilogy, and then my review of Mobile Suit Gundam Cucuruz Doan's Island when it releases, make sure to hit the notification bell so you know exactly when those videos go up. But now let's dive into this film. So straight out the gate, I'm going to say that I don't like this one quite as much as the first one. That is not saying that this is a bad film, because once again, it is fantastic. It does still have some of the same problems as the first entry, and I feel like that's going to be the case for this entire trilogy, where the animation is inconsistent in places, the design sometimes change, the size of the Gundam would sometimes change, and it's understandable, like, I get it, because Transformers, the original series, did that as well, and it's just one of these cases where they don't always get the sizing correct. In some places it is really noticeable, but for the most part, I don't think it really takes you out of the experience. I will say that I don't think this film felt quite as long as the first one, and I think this is actually a longer film, which I guess is props to the film for maybe being paced better or just not feeling as dragged out. But with that said, it still does have that same like TV show style pacing, which is understandable because it is a TV show that's essentially combined into a trilogy of films. But I guess my biggest disappointment with this one is the lack of Char throughout pretty much the majority of the film. He comes in more so, I guess, in like the second half, but even then, he's not really in the film that much, and you don't really develop his character all too much either. But I guess moving into one of the positives, and that is his sister, or who we kind of are getting the idea that may or may not be his sister, and that is Sailor. We continue to peel back the layers on that character as she's trying to learn more about Char, who could potentially be her brother, and then you bring in a character like Rambaral, who has a bit of a discussion with her in this film as well, and she gets an idea that maybe she is connected to Zeon. Maybe her father was actually the founder of Zeon. And of course, all this stuff she either didn't know or she couldn't remember, so we as an audience are kind of learning this for the first time, and in some ways so is she. I'm certainly very excited to see where this character ends up going in the third film, and if we like fully wrap this up, fully tie this up, and fully reveal her backstory. And much like the first film, this does have some excellent commentary on war, particularly when it comes to the loss of soldiers, of people, and really how these characters deal with that. The first half of the film mostly involves Amuro leaving White Base because he overhears Bright Noah talking about wanting to get rid of him, replace him as the pilot. Amuro takes the Gundam, he goes into this small town, and here's where he actually meets Rambaral and his wife. Or at least I'm assuming it's his wife, maybe it's his daughter, I'm not really sure, but I'm pretty sure it's his wife. Anyway, Amuro meets him, and I guess it's outside of the battlefield, and Rambaral just comes across as a decent guy. Amuro kind of sees this and sees, is this the guy we're fighting against? He doesn't really seem all that evil. Once again, he's questioning the morals of the war, he's questioning why we are fighting. But then it is in the second half where a lot more of the death comes in, the characters dealing with the aftermath of that, and it particularly affects Amuro because of course he is our main character and we're seeing a lot of this stuff through the eyes of him, but also Kai, who we don't really get much of in the first film. We don't really get much of him in terms of development or anything like that. In fact, for the majority of that runtime, he just comes across as a bit of a dick. He's not really a likable character. But then in this film, it gets a little bit more development. You introduce this girl that he ends up meeting. It turns out that she's actually a spy for Zeon, but you reveal, things about that and the fact that she's only doing this spy work so she can get money to feed her brother and sister. And, you can understand that. And spoiler alert, she ends up dying, and I guess he feels the weight of that. And it gives him this motivation to continue fighting on against Zeon, so this doesn't happen to anyone else in the future, so that women or girls aren't forced to work for Zeon as spies, in order to earn money, in order to feed either their kids or their siblings. And for a character that I initially just didn't really care about whatsoever and just thought he was, I don't know, a bit of a loser, someone that's generally not really likable, I did find that he had some pretty solid characterization in this film. But like I said, it's mainly Amuro that a lot of this death affects, and you do have sort of major characters dying, like they're not the lead characters, but you do have Ryu, who is like one of the pilots of one of the, I think it's the gun tank, I think he was the pilot of, and he dies, he sacrifices himself, and there's a scene just a little bit after that when they reach like the main base, and in honor of Ryu's sacrifice in battle, they decide to give him like 3 extra ranks and make him a lieutenant, and when Amuro sees this, he calls it out. He says, is this all his life was worth? Giving him 3 extra ranks. And emotionally, you definitely feel that, because this is a guy that, he was pretty good friends with generally, someone who he'd fought alongside, and see him sacrifice himself in battle to then just be awarded 3 ranks, which realistically don't really do anything. It's sad to see, and I fully agree with Amuro calling it out. Now, there is something in this film that is put to the forefront in some places which I don't know whether I like or dislike. In some cases, it can be a bit cringy, and it just kind of takes you out of it. but it also feels like some light comedic relief, and that is with the kids who, are gonna be joining along for the third film, I guess, as well. It still baffles me that they are on board the ship seeing all this stuff in war and they are kind of completely unfazed by it. In the third act, they actually play a vital role where they protect the mobile suits from being blown up by a bunch of bombs by gathering them all up and getting them away from there. They're fun to watch, I guess, but they're also kind of cringy and slightly annoying in places. But it has like a light bit of comedic relief. They don't overtake the entire film, and for a film that is like very focused on the hardships of war, it's nice to have that little bit of comedic relief. But overall, whilst I didn't enjoy Soldiers of Sorrow quite as much as the first one, I still think this is a damn good film, and it really touches on some great subjects within war, especially about the death of fellow soldiers and just fellow human beings. People that are important, some of our main characters do die, and you really feel the weight of that through the actions that some of those characters take later on, and just the emotions they're feeling. And like I said, it does carry over some of those issues from the first film with the animation being inconsistent in places, but I think it's paced a bit better and also just doesn't feel as long. But as I said, my biggest issue, or the biggest disappointment I guess with the film, is the severe lack of Char, because I am very interested in learning more about that character, and I just didn't think we got much of him in this film. But once again, this is another damn good film, and I cannot wait to see how this trilogy wraps up. So with all that in mind, I'm going to give Mobile Suit Gundam II Soldiers of Sorrow a B. Before I get out of here though, I'd really appreciate if you could leave a like on this video. Also subscribe if you're a fan of anime and Japanese gaming. If you're a fan of Gundam, I'm going to continue to talk about it on the channel as we lead up to the release of Gundam Cucuruz Doan's Island. I'm going to be talking about this entire trilogy and then ranking it. And then I think sometime in the future, I do want to watch Char's Counterattack and probably give you guys a review of that as well. And if you're excited for The Witch from Mercury, the new Gundam series, I'm going to be talking about that weekly on the channel, and I am very excited for it. Most importantly though, I want to hear what you thought of this film, so head on down to the comment section below and let me know. Is it your favourite of the trilogy? Is it your least favourite? And what is your favourite moment? But as always, thank you so much for tuning into MChat today, and I'll see you all in the next video.